Good day everyone, Complaining Gamer here. Welcome back to the channel. In my typical style, I am back with some more detail diving. This time we're going to look at the teleportation animation in Breath of the Wild. Now, you might say, why spend your time on these things? Well, why not? I find it interesting and hopefully you do too. Now, the thing about the teleportation animation is it actually used to work, but it broke at a very specific point. Now, recently we had a Patreon news release from the Cemu developers for Cemu version 1.11.2, where it showed that they have actually fixed the teleportation animation in the game. Prior to that, I made an F-ups video which covers some of the issues which still remain. And I share a lot of what I do on the Cemu Reddit. This led to Reddit user This Place Is Hell giving his input on the situation. He said about the teleportation animation, funny thing about this one, initially since launch it half worked. There was the blue texture applied to Link and it slowly dissolved, but not correctly. I believe it was 1.7.5 or 1.8.0 that fixed this and actually caused the effect to render properly, which lasted until Nintendo patched Zelda to, I believe, 1.1.2, alongside the Season Pass update and the 3 freebie chests on the Great Plateau. Ever since this patch, the effect has been utterly broken and no sign of a fix from Cemu. So this led me to dive right in to older versions of Breath of the Wild and older versions of Cemu to see what I could find. Let's take a look. For this experiment, I tested a few different versions of Cemu. I removed DLC from Breath of the Wild and I tried out 3 different update versions of the game. So the idea was to see what does and doesn't happen based on the game update version. With this configuration, you can see that the animation is in place but missing certain little effects. By simply changing the game version, the animation is broken and Link immediately disappears. Increasing Cemu version and decreasing game version, we can observe an improvement in the particle effect as well as the restoration of the animation. Maintaining the same settings, updating only the Cemu version, we can observe the same results as the previous test. Same as before, changing only the Cemu version, it gave us the exact same result. Once again here we witness the destruction of the teleportation animation due to game version. These tests show us that game version did indeed break the teleportation animation in Zelda Breath of the Wild when used within Cemu. The emulator itself was not 100% guilty here, but it did need addressing by the creators, and developer XApp did comment on what the issue was. When attempting to provide a technical explanation to a fellow Discord user, Exap said, "Can't really put it into simple words since it was quite a complex problem, but I'll try. The teleport effect uses a 3D noise texture which looks something like this. In early versions of Breath of the Wild, they generated the texture on the GPU via a simple but inefficient method. They changed that to something far more complex and also made it so that the texture is compressed by the GPU. Cemu wasn't able to detect the compressed texture, so it ended up with an empty texture instead. As a result, during teleportation, all pixels would fade out at the same time and Link would just disappear as a whole." So I think we can all agree there, very interesting developer insight into the teleportation animation. For me personally, this did leave a rather important detail unanswered, and that is what game version and DLC version did Exap use when showing the working, updated, corrected animation. He said it was on Breath of the Wild version 1.3.0 without DLC, but the teleport animation should now work on all versions anyway. Now it should be noted that with DLC, without DLC, it has no bearing on this situation. When we compare Exap's fixed teleportation animation to the animation found within the Switch console, you can see that they're very, very similar. And of course, for Cemu users, this animation is a huge improvement. Of course, Cemu is a Wii U emulator, not a Switch emulator, so sometimes the comparisons might be a bit unfair. So there you go, ladies and gents, another detail dive by the Complaining Gamer, where I took a look at the issues with the teleportation animation in Breath of the Wild in Cemu, a Wii U emulator. I personally find that diving into the details is very interesting and something that I plan on continuing to do. If you enjoy it yourself, let me know by hitting that like button. And if you want me to continue with this type of content, maybe you can also let me know by subscribing and leaving a comment down below. Thank you for the time, thank you for watching, and I will catch you very soon.